Mr. Morrison, did Ambassador Bolton want the security aid hold lifted?
Yes, Congressman, he did.
You testified that Ambassador Bolton had a one-on-one meeting with President Trump in late August related to Ukraine security assistance. Is that right?
Sir, can you point to where I testified to that?
On page 266, you said Ambassador Bolton had a one-on-one meeting with President Trump in late August 2019, but the president was not yet ready to approve the release of the assistance. Do you remember that?
Sir, this is 226?
Yes, to 266 and 268. But I'm asking you, did that happen or did it not?
Sir, I want to be clear in characterizing it. Okay, yes, sir, I see.
And
yes.
You testified to that. What was the outcome of that meeting between Ambassador Bolton and President Trump?
Ambassador Bolton did not yet believe the president was ready to approve the assistance.
Did Ambassador Bolton inform you of any reason for the ongoing hold that stemmed from this meeting?
No, sir.
Mr. Morrison, do you consider yourself loyal to the president?
Yes, sir.
And the president executes the foreign policy of the United States, is that right?
Well, sir, I would say he decides.
He sets the foreign policy.
He sets it, yes, sir.
And as a staffer on the National Security Council, and even someone who serves in the military, it's your job to faithfully execute the foreign policy priorities of the president, is that right?
Sir, my oath is to obey all lawful orders.
On July 25, you listened to the President of the United States talk to the President of Ukraine, is that correct?
July 25th, yes, sir.
And regardless of what you had prepared as far as talking points for that call for the President, you heard the President of the United States ask the President of Ukraine to investigate the Bidens, is that correct?
Yes, sir, he made a request.
And after the July 25 call between President Trump and the Ukrainian President, fair to say that you talked to your Ukrainian counterparts a number of times?
Yes, sir.
How many times when you talked to your Ukrainian counterparts did you ask them to investigate the Bidens?
Never, sir.
Why not?
Sir, it was not a policy objective that I was aware of.
But with all due respect, Mr. Morrison, you're not in the White House to carry out your policy objectives. You just testified that the president sets the foreign policy objectives for the United States, and the one call that you listened to between the President of the United States and the President of Ukraine, the President of the United States' priorities were to investigate the Bidens. And I'm asking you, sir, why didn't you follow up on the President's priorities when you talked to the Ukrainians?
Sir, I did not understand it as a policy objective.
Mr. Morrison, I know that you put that conversation in the server because, as you said, you feared the political consequences and some other reasons that you gave. But you also chose to defy the president's request to not come here, as others have, like Mr. Mulvaney and Mr. Bolton. And you have come here, and you've been truthful. And I appreciate that. And Mr. Morrison, whether you acknowledge it publicly or not, I believe that you knew that what the president asked the Ukrainians to do was wrong. And as you just described, your duty is to follow the foreign policy priorities of the president, but to also only follow something that is a lawful order. And I don't think you believe that was a lawful order, and that's why you did not follow up on those priorities. Mr. Volker, we've heard a lot today about this president being such an anti-corruption president. He really cared about fighting corruption. Is Russia a corrupt country?
We're talking about President Zelensky?
Oh, President Trump.
President Trump.
Is Russia a corrupt country?
Yes, it is.
And President Trump has met a number of times in person with President Putin, is that right?
Yes, a few times.
And he's had a number of phone calls with President Putin, is that right?
Yes.
Is Turkey a corrupt country?
Yes, I believe so.
And just last week, despite their corruption, at the White House, President Erdogan had an audience with the President of the United States, is that correct?
Yes, he did.
Finally, Mr. Giuliani, on May 9th, told the New York Times, President Trump basically knows what I'm doing as his lawyer. Are you familiar with that statement to the New York Times?
No, I'm not.
But you agree, as someone who has a lawyer sitting next to you, that a lawyer acts on a client's behalf, and only on a client's behalf. Is that right?
I believe that a lawyer acts on his client's behalf. I'm not sure about only on a client's behalf, because I think, as I understood Mayor Giuliani in this case, he was doing a lot that I considered to be on his own. I did not believe he was always instructed.
And when he said we're not meddling in an election, we're meddling in an investigation, he didn't say I, he said we. Is that correct?
I'm taking that from the statement.
Yield back.